Right, it's Project NASA. Joining me with this time around is Danny Roscoe. Describes himself as anti-Marxist, anti-critical race theory, anti-Black Lives Matter. Just going off your Twitter bio here, Danny. Just want to introduce yourself a little bit, mate, and tell us about yourself.
Hello, mate. Thank you for having me on. I'm Daniel Roscoe, and I'm very, very critical on the Black Lives Matter movement, the division it's causing, the mispolitics it's causing as well. You know, where you can't, it's a bit like what we have been going through. You can't speak about the truth of it actually being a Marxist organisation, and hopefully later on I can tell you exactly very shortly how it is. I've been an activist for now openly for 2 years. I was a Brexiteer, but I was a Twitter one and a social media one. I didn't feel I was needed to get my face out on streams and whatnot, because a lot of people were doing it. But as soon as Black Lives Matter came on and I realised everyone's getting called a racist, I thought, you know, I have to stand up for what I believe in. So that's what I did. I jumped on the scene and hopefully set it alight a little bit.
And I see you've got a movement you started called Black and White Unite. Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, essentially, that's a anti-Marxist movement, you know, because with what happened was somebody said to me before Black Lives Matter, all lives can't matter, and I'm like, I can't have that. That's the level of division that we're going through at the moment. So I came out with Black and White Unite. We've got to unite the people and stop this division that's happening. And then secondly of that, people that I'm associated with, they said it 10 years ago and they got branded a racist and they got branded, far right and that. So it's a big two fingers up to the establishment as well to say, do you know what, if you want to brand people this way, try brand me that, you know, because all we want is unity. So that's how it started. And yeah.
Yeah, I was just intrigued to have you on. So big shout out to Nick for sorting this out. Really appreciate that. And definitely a character we want to have a chat with, a little natter about. This is for me. You know, obviously we spoke before we started recording. I'm not a big fan of Black Lives Matter. As I said, I think they're a Marxist organisation, and it seems that's what the left seem to be doing, is playing, identity politics. They put everyone into groups. And then one group then becomes demonized, and as you said, everybody who disagrees with them ends up being called a racist. While we're touching on Black Lives Matter, the protest that happened down in London, do you see a lot of that? Did you watch what happened out there?
Yeah, I watched it from afar, of what they did, and to be fair, that I gave up hope of the Metropolitan Police that day, because when they took the knee, as soon as I saw the pictures of them taking the knee, to people chanting and shouting at them, I knew, because I know what black folk are like. I know what black Marxist folks are like, yeah, and they're not right in the head. And I knew at that day there was going to be extreme violence, and I thought it'd come out like Croydon riots again. I thought we'd be having riots on the street where people are getting injured and places are getting burnt, and then seeing them getting chased up Whitehall, you know, battered, injured, people with poles and bikes and throwing things. You know, that's what Black Lives Matter have done. They whipped up the emotion, they whipped everything up. As you said, they segregated the people, and then now it's game time. It's black versus white, and they did a bad move there. They wasn't strong enough, which they never are when it comes down to the left.
During those protests, they vandalised the war memorials. I don't understand why. What's your thoughts on that?
The war memorial thing is essentially against the colonialism of the country. So they thought they had the right to disrespect every serving soldier and every past soldier as well for the last 100 years. I was sick and I was disgusted when that happened, and yeah, it shouldn't have been done, and a lot of things should have been done afterwards. And when the people went down to protect the statues, the police then again demonized them as the far right coming down to fight Black Lives Matter, when it wasn't. We just can't see our statues being being done. And I did a stream later on, a couple of months later, with Sarah Garvey and Tommy and a few other people. And that's what it was about. It was about, why are you racist when you did a call to arms for everyone to come to London to protect the statues? And that's the level we're at. People can't see what's happened, why people are doing it. They just say statues, white people saying come down, Black Lives Matter, it's all racist. And that's as simple as they think.
Yeah, and that's it. I mean, the cenotaph is there to represent all of our glorious dead, whether they're white, black, pink, or yellow. It's for everybody. And we see recently, Sadiq Khan was trying to say he wanted to put a monument up towards just for Muslim soldiers alone. So again, more identity politics from the Marxists.
Exactly. On the battlefield, they don't care who was left or right of them. They just knew that to survive it. They didn't care if they were left, right, black, white. They just fought. They fought for our freedoms. They fought for our country. And we've got people who are cultural Marxists thinking that it's acceptable to do that. And it was not a strong enough thing from the police. It wasn't a strong enough explanation from the Home Office, from the government, from nobody. Nobody wanted to touch it apart from the people. And I'm proud of the people that turned up the next time to protect the statues, 100%.
Well, I was there that day, and I interviewed an old veteran. You might have seen the interview; it went viral. There was an ex-Royal Green Jacket there, an old guy I interviewed, and he said, I asked him what his thoughts were on being called far right by Sadiq Khan, and his response was something along the lines of he should be arrested and shot for treason. They were discussing that on LBC. So he's not very well liked amongst the veterans, and tarring people as far right for protecting statues, whereas it's in his realm. He's the mayor of London. He should have made sure that those statues were covered up. It took that day for him to to eventually cover up the statues and the war memorials 3 times.
And then he covers them up now at will. Even when the people are going down just to have a peaceful rally or whatever, he'll still cover them up, because that's his bit of power. That's him saying, "I'll still disrespect your culture and your history." What
would you make of him doing with this now? Because he set up like a diversity commission to rename street names, tear down statues. I'm sure you're aware. What's your thoughts on that?
I've gone to speak to him many times. I've emailed Whitehall and say, if you want a diversity, you've got to have someone that's against what you don't believe in. It's cultural Marxism, mate. It's tearing down history, it's creating new history, and it's trying to get rid of the history of Britain, so then they can say this Britain wasn't the people who went and colonized everywhere. They didn't have the empire. This Britain's always been multicultural. It's always been this, and that's what they want to do. And we can see it with people like David Olasunga. He's brought a book out recently, which is just based on a lot of lies. He's supposed to be a historian, and it's based on a lot of lies about things happening in Bristol. And this is what they're doing: rewriting history, the same as ISIS did. They tore down the statues because they only wanted Islamic history, and I don't see any difference with these cultural Marxists, and people are allowing him to do it because he's the mayor of London and a Muslim.
Spot on, mate. I think you're bang on the money there. What about just a quick one? I had a quick breeze of your Twitter account before we came on, and you'd posted a video of it's in Ukraine. And it was of a guy who's filming. Looks like they're at a border or at Ukraine trying to get on, and he's basically saying the black people are trapped; they can't get through across the border. And you've put something along the lines of fake news.
Yeah, it is fake news. I'll tell you why it's fake news, because I don't know if people know the ethnicity. Developments of Ukraine. There's not many black people who are actually Ukraine, especially when they are sub-Saharan African black. So what's happened is Belarus has given all the refugees that they've got, let them cross over the border, because Poland and people like that are accepting refugees. So this is their way of getting through the big Ukraine that they couldn't get through. Now they can freely travel through there, claiming themselves as refugees, get into Poland, and then we all know where they're heading after that. And that's why it's fake news, because personally, I don't believe that they are refugees of Ukrainian descent. If they are, I'd like to hear them speak Ukrainian. It's as simple as that.
Yeah, you're not wrong.
But they
Right,
will
so
get here by.
well, mate. Go on.
I was going to say they will get here by saying that they are that they're Ukrainian, and nobody will use that simple test. Nobody will say, "Can you speak Ukrainian to us?" They'll just be like, "Okay, yes," because they're black, because they're refugees. Allegedly, we've got to let them in. Preeti Patel is the weakest Home Secretary we've got.
Yeah, for sure. And we know Poland have taken had a strong response towards migrants at their border. We've seen in recent weeks, they're not having a bar of it; they're letting anyone in.
Exactly.
So you touched on Tommy Robinson earlier. What's your relationship with him?
I've got quite a close relationship with him. I think the same. His ideology and my ideology is very much aligned because he's there for the country and I'm here for the best of the country. He goes across and does things that not everyone will do, and I do that with Black Lives Matter. So we are the same. But the thing is, everyone's been like, "Oh, he's a racist," and things like that. And this proves, when he reached out to me and he was trying to say, it's not worth the hassle. Look at what happened to me when you speak out, blah, blah, blah. Giving advice. You wouldn't do that if you was a racist. You'd just be like, try and get away from my organization. And then we, through conversations, through meeting up, through doing different events, we've got ourselves very close. But nobody would know that because like when we was at Speaker's Corner, I walked in with him very proudly, and the media only got him. When we was outside court, the media only got him. When we go and do anything, even Telford, they only got him, even though I stood on the stage with Anne-Marie Waters, Tommy, Danny Tomo, and said, "This is the future of Britain. Look, there's no division. We're here for the country." That didn't get put out, but a lot of other things did. So trying to change the narrative with him because I know he's a good lad. He's doing the best that he can for the country, and all he's getting is establishment just calling him the same old thing: is you're white, you're British, you're racist.
Yeah, I think it's a shame. I mean, like you said there, you weren't in any of those, with the news, any of their images, and you get cut out. It doesn't fit their narrative. And you mentioned there about the court case, and we just touched on it just before we started recording. So, tell us a little bit about that for people who haven't seen the video of the two Muslim lads outside that were filming Tommy Robinson, and then he called their prophet a paedophile for having a child wife, and they defended him and said that it was. Yeah, will you tell the story? What happened there with that?
Yeah, well, exactly. I'll go to every court case that he's in, just so the truth is out there, and again to show him my support for him and what he's doing. And when I come out of the court, I've come out halfway through it. So he's talking to a group of Asians, and you know where it's going to go because he doesn't go to anyone when these confrontations happen. They always come to him. So when somebody's coming to Tommy, it's going to be quite bad. So I've come out and I've got into the conversation, and I thought they were talking about the rape gangs when they were saying the Muslims were saying no, it's okay as long as they're mature in their head, it's okay to have sex with them. So I'm thinking that. And Tommy turned to me and said, "No, Danny, they're talking about underage girls, under 10, 9-year-old girls." And then that's when I flipped, and I was like, "What?" On the streets of London, these Muslims in front of Tommy and in front of a lot of people who all had cameras, they had their mask on their face, whatever, but they go Speaker's Corner every single Sunday. And they're happy to say these types of stuff, that paedophilia is okay as long as they're mentally aware of it or whatnot, which goes straight into the mentality of grooming gangs. You can see the direct link there, the direct line, but nobody in the mainstream media has brought it up. Nobody's done that. And the thing about when I say people come up to him, I went to a boxing match with him in East London where you'd expect a lot of people to be against him. But when you're in the type of environment, you've got the Muslim lads that are coming over to him, getting photos. They want, to have a conversation and whatnot. And they're all friendly against him. But he only gets to see the few people who are angry at him and try and turn it onto him. So that's the state of what happens. But I couldn't believe it on the streets of London that people say it's okay to have sex with 9-year-old girls, and the prophet wasn't a paedophile because she was mentally mature. Come on.
You see, and this is the thing here for me. What really winds me up is you'll see the left, they're quick to jump on the bandwagon, call people far right, gammon, all that bollocks. But when there's a situation like that, they'll overlook it. You know, there's a willful blindness there. They won't want to entertain it. You know, because they won't want to be called Islamophobic themselves. But you know, it just doesn't fit their narrative.
Goes deeper
so
than
they just
that.
ignore it.
Yeah, it goes deeper than that as well, because a lot of the left, most of the left are Marxists. And obviously these paedophiles, they're helping the Marxists out, because all the Marxists want is to create more and to destabilize what we have now. So what better way of destabilizing a family unit? Oh, sorry, that's what Black Lives Matter said that their aim is to do, you know, is to introduce paedophiles. Introduce paedophiles, you're alienating the child from the family. You don't understand me, mum and dad. I'm going to go to the people who do. They're going to be the Marxists. The Marxists are going to, you know, try and sexualize them even more to try and, you know, mess their minds up, and, you know, the 52 genders. And it's just a big cogs, loads of cogs going along until they're so indoctrinated. It's unreal.
Yeah, there was a professor recently, wasn't there? I don't know if you see that. She was, I think it's in America. She quit after she said it was okay to have sex with children. I don't know if you remember that. It was a couple of months ago.
Yeah, I saw a few. There's a guy just. Yeah, there's a guy just another professor from, I think, America recently. He did the same. You know, he was saying age. There's no barrier in age. We're the people that are bringing up barriers. We're the people that are doing this type of stuff. So we're the wrong ones. You know. Nannies jerk the babies off to stop them crying, like when they're like 2s and 3s and that. This is what the guy, I'll send it to Nick and he can send it across. It's twisted. It's absolutely twisted. And that was on the live stream.
Shit. These people, they're dangerous, absolutely dangerous. And well, thanks for coming on, Danny. Really appreciate your time. You know, coming on and expressing your views. And you know, it's nice to have someone else on from your background yourself, and let us know how you think. So it's not all one-sided as we see on the media and how they try to portray, you know, people. And you know, we've seen with Sasha Johnson just recently, the big hole she's got in her head, and in the newspapers they called her an equal rights activist.
Yeah.
As we see, she was banned from Twitter for her racism, saying that, you know, white man will not be our equal; they'll be our slaves. But somehow that makes her an equal rights activist. It's quite sickening.
Exactly, and that's what it is. Who controls the media is predominantly, apart from a few outlets, it's the left. So they can come out and say these types of stuff. But she's not equal rights for anything. And you know, I'm glad that I can come on the stream here, because not many people want to talk about this, and I think it's important to hear it from my point of view as well. You know, as a Black British person, rather than all the people who are just saying, yeah, we'll go with it, you know. And the people who don't go with it, they can't speak up because they live in the communities, and obviously when they're in the communities, they will get themselves alienated. And we know about you know, black on black crime at the moment. It's not the soft type of crime. So it's got to get the message out as soon as we can, however we can. So I appreciate it. Thank you,
Danny. Where can people find you, Danny? What social medias you're on? And
my social media is my best one at the moment. The one I'm doing more time on is Getter. So that's Danny Roscoe 7, and obviously my Twitter as well. But I keep getting banned off of that. So yeah, or you can go on to Telegram as well. Go for the Danny Roscoe Show, and you'll find me there as well.
Lovely. Thanks again for your time. Really, really appreciate it, Danny.
Thank
Hope
you.
to have you on again sometime. All the best.
Yeah, cheers. Thank you, mate. Cheers.